Hello guys, my name is Richard and welcome to the first video of my channel. Today I will talk about a breaking news. 2 days ago, mainland China proposed national security legislation for Hong Kong. Just read the headlines. The end of Hong Kong. Hong Kong is dead. One country, two system is destroyed. Okay. Well, it's easy to say it now, but I was almost convinced after reading 10 articles from the newspapers. So the answer is no, no, no. So what is actually happening now? Please note, I will use Beijing here instead of China in this video to avoid putting Hong Kong and its country China separated. So what is one country two systems policy? Let me spend 40 seconds to explain. The two systems here means that the Hong Kong does not practice mainland Chinese socialist system but remains a capitalist system, which means Hong Kong have its own governmental system, legal, economic, and financial affairs. And all of that are independent under the mini constitution, the basic law. And one country means, on matters regarding foreign relations and policy, defense, national flag, nationality, the constitutional order of China, it is a uniform concept and standard throughout the nation of China, including Hong Kong. And obviously, national security surely belongs to this one country's scope of areas. 2 days ago, Beijing in a meeting proposed deliberates on the principle to protect the national interest. Let's see what's the principles aimed at. Secession, breaking away from the country. Subversion, undermining the power or authority of its central government. Terrorism, and activities by foreign forces that interfere in Hong Kong. Well, that seems definitely national security. So what's the problem? As I mentioned, Hong Kong has different law system comparing with Beijing. Some people begin to worry about, is this a direct order from Beijing and the law will bypass Hong Kong Legislative Council? That's not true. I have done some homework. It seems that even if Beijing, after concluding its current deliberative process, the Hong Kong government still need to take a step to promulgate or legislate locally. Well, let's introduce another special administrative region of China, Macau. In 2009, the Macau's national security law was introduced to prohibit and punish acts of treason, secession, and subversion against the central government. It has been over 10 years now, and it wasn't the end of the world for Macau. On the contrary, Macau is one of the most developed countries and dependencies in the world. So why is it gonna be the end of the world for Hong Kong? As we know, the Chinese-US trade war has been very intensive these years, and there is an NGO called National Endowment for Democracy, which has been funding Hong Kong's protests for years. All the information is open on its website, and when you have a look at the quantum of the funded project and the scale of funding, you will wonder, wait, is Hong Kong still under Qing Dynasty's rule? Yet Hong Kong is one of the freest economies in the world, and it has more democracy than ever, which makes it the third largest financial center. Well, maybe not anymore after the riot. On Friday, the US Secretary of State published an open letter to the Chinese government. In fact, it is precisely this remark made by the US Secretary of the State, forcing Beijing to take more measures to protect its illegitimate national security. Just like if the US Congress is to deliberate on an act for stamping out subversive or secession activities in California, It has nothing to do with other countries in the world. Therefore, what Beijing or Hong Kong is currently doing or planning to do in this regard has nothing to do with the international trade with the United States. To be honest, I feel bad for those protesters who are holding the flag of the US or hanging the flag of British Hong Kong. At the beginning of the protest, I believe some of them are for the good of the Hong Kong city. However, I couldn't understand the purpose of holding a flag of the US. If you just want Hong Kong to be another city of the US, why bother doing this when you could just go to the US? And I feel even more confused when I saw them hanging the flag of the British Hong Kong, in where there is no democracy at all at that time. Democracy was introduced to Hong Kong not long before it was handed over back to China. So I think anyone who wants to go back are fools. Nowadays, there are actually a lot of people in Hong Kong of supporting the security law and opposing the violence. I just want to say, for those media working so hard to find and interview who criticize the decision, well, I appreciate your hard work, but it would be so much easier to find someone support the national security law.
首先希望要穩定咗個香港嘅秩序先咯。我好難受係佢哋用暴力去即係爭取自己想要嘅嘢，同埋去傷害人哋咯。
你第一搭唔到車啦，搞到人心惶惶啦，即係開唔到工啦，開唔到工又冇飯食啊嘛。
嗰啲係反社會行為。琴日兩三日咧，呢一個國安法出台咧，肯定以後咧就佢哋沒落。
國安法係應該嘅，每一個國家都有啊。而家係俾泛民俾啲人啊亂咁搞到咁亂，好正常嘅一件事啊，冇需要去恐懼啊。唔該美國，唔該泛民，唔好再恐嚇啲香港市民，無謂嘅真係。
Now I hope anyone who is watching this video could be more objective regarding the matter, and I respect you with different position and opinion, but please don't say I support the violent protesters for Hong Kong's greater good. That would be quite awkward. Well, I came to Australia 2 years ago before everything starts, but many of my immediate family are still living in Hong Kong. In 2019, the GDP of Hong Kong fell for the first time in 10 years. Unemployment reached a highest point, and public facilities were destroyed. Schools were suspended, companies closed, and more importantly, many injuries and deaths. Leave the anti-extradition law aside, violence is destroying Hong Kong in every way. So please do not turn Hong Kong into one of the battlefields or a movie set of Mission Impossible. Thank you for watching this video. 多謝晒。